Timer! So as you can see, I have added a time and I've added a number for the time. So within my canvas, these aren't coded at all. I've literally copied the eggs collected and eggs count bit, which is basically these two bits here, two text boxes, and I've duplicated them, moved them across, and put time in as the time label. And time then, in fact, I don't want it to say 99. I'm going to leave it blank because the code will do that for us. Now, what the plan is, but the timer will start at 99 and it will count down. So we're going to do the code for that first of all, and then we're going to look at how to do the code so when it gets to zero, it'll go to a game over scene, which we'll need to quickly make on this. And then lastly, we're going to have it so for when we go into the blue shop and the red shop, then that timer follows us then, just like the way the eggs remain in number does, and the fact that the eggs stay kind of like destroyed once they've been collected. Anyway, what I'm going to suggest you do, I normally put like the countdown timer on the main camera, but it kind of messes up when you go into one of the other scenes, as in it carrying across. So I'm just going to click on the ground because that's an inanimate object, which I'm not going to do anything with. And I'm going to add my script to this. So it's going to be called countdown timer, and we're going to let it load up, and it loads up here as usual, and just give it a quick double click. And I'm going to grab what's on this here. So I'm literally going to grab all of these bits and I'm going to quickly talk about what happens when it's there. So I'm going to copy over everything. So countdown timer, capital C, capital T, and when I paste over, it's that as well. We've got the Unity Engine UI bit at the top because we're going to be referring to a text box in respect of the text is going to be updating. The time is actually going to be 99, so this is going to be our um public kind of like variable for this. So the time will start as 99. It will set the text box to 99, and then every second it gets minus, that's why the minus is there, by 1. Now, if you want to count down to start from 0 and go up, you basically change that number to 0 and put a plus sign there instead. And these bits where it says timer text box, that's basically updating the text which is on screen. So if I save that and I go back on to Unity, we let it do what it's got to do. And when we click on the ground, you'll notice that it's saying, well, that's the time start, fantastic. But what text box do you want to update? And remember, it's actually this one here I've got set up. I'll drop that in there. And when I press play, it should start at 99 down in the bottom right hand corner. And then it just keeps counting down. And you can see it's doing it here on the right hand side as well. So one of those lines of code, this mathf round, basically rounds it up to a full number rather than seeing the decimal place like it's being displayed there. Now, what we want to do next is actually add a bit of code within the countdown timer code to make it so when it gets to 0, it will take us to like a game over scene. So first thing I'm going to do is actually adjust this number because sitting here for 99 seconds waiting for it to get to the bottom is going to be really tiresome and it's going to take ages to record. So I'm going to change the time start here to 5. And I kind of find whenever I try to do it in here by itself, it doesn't do it, but I'm going to change it there anyway, just to make sure. And we're going to then copy some yellow code from this bit here. So we're going to need to do a scene management call because the scene management is what helps us go from one scene to another. And we're also going to put in this little if statement. So this if statement will basically say, when the timer gets down to 0, take us to the game over scene, which doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to have to build that. So that's going to go here. And I'm just going to get that up. If it hasn't hit 0, it's going to basically keep counting down until it gets to 0. And I think I just need to add one more bracket in there like so. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to come back onto Unity. It's going to kick off and say there's no such thing as the game over scene, or it would if we press play because it wouldn't kind of allow us to do it. So I'm going to have to quickly make a game over scene within the scenes area. So I'm just going to right click as usual, create, and where's scene? I can't see scene. There's scene. And I'm going to call it game over. And I've got to make sure that it's named exactly as I've got in the code. So capital G, capital O, you can see it there. And that's what I've got there as well. I'm going to go into my game over scene. I'm going to save what's happened on here. Now at this stage, nothing's on there, but I am just going to quickly go to build settings and add the open scene. Okay. Now, give me a second because I'm just going to write the word game over on here. I'm going to pause the video and then we'll test if that code works. So there we go. We've got our game over text sorted. So when we come to the point of our timer gets down to zero, I should be taken here. So I'm just gonna go back onto our sample scene. I'm gonna press save, and we're gonna press play and let the counter go down from 5 to 0. So 5, 4, 3. I should have done 3 really. 2, 1. I'm gonna guess to 0. It takes us there. Now, obviously, at this point, I need to have like buttons to restart the game, to quit the game, that type of stuff. Now, one of the issues I've got at the moment, if I press play and I run into the red shop really quickly, the time appears there and it stopped counting down, which I expected. And if I go back to that scene, then it restarts back at 5. So just like we had the issue with the eggs earlier on, we need to get something sorted in respect of the time being carried over. So the way we're going to fix that, our countdown time, we're going to put public static float, so that'll allow us to use this time start across different scenes. I'm going to save that. And because I was in my red scene or my red shop, I think it was my red shop. Yeah, it definitely was my red shop. And I've already set up time here. So basically I did this pre to this and on the canvas, look, I've got, why can't I click on that arrow? I've got the time and time label. I'll need to do the same as well with the, with the blue shop I've got set up. But all I'm going to do on one of these inanimate objects, so none of these here, I might actually just do it on the word time itself, because, oh no, time label, it needs to be, so let's put it all in the right order. What am I doing? Jeepers. Yeah, bear with me, I'm just messing things up. I was trying to drag that so it was underneath it. There we go. So my time label, which is the time there, I'm going to add a new script, and this time it will be shop. What was the thing called? Shop countdown timer. We call it that. And basically this will be used in all our shops then, okay? So the shop countdown timer, the idea will be to make the timer come from the countdown timer into the shop. We are going to copy the code which is in our countdown timer across. I'm going to do it bit by bit because I want to make sure these bits are in the right place. I don't need public stack float, all that type of stuff because that's already been set there. But I am going to be copying those lines. They are going to go into our area here. And anywhere where I've got the word time start, and I think it's in a few different places, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 places. I need to say that well, time start actually comes from the countdown timer. So in fact, I'm going to copy that rather than me typing it out every time. I'm just going to paste it in front of each of these, and it should. Whoops, what am I doing? And it should then um, bring it across for us, like we did with the eggs remaining thing and that type of stuff on a previous case. So we don't have to use the game state manager or anything like that. It's literally just using the static on here for the time start and then copying and pasting the code over and basically saying that every time it says time start, we want to take the time which is already counting down from the countdown timer, if that makes sense. So let me save that. Let me go back onto Unity. I'm wondering if it's going to kick off at all. Doesn't seem like it's going to. So on our time label, we added the script, and it's just going to say to us, well, what is the timer you're referring to? So I'm just going to drag that across like so. And the idea will be now, if I go back onto our sample scene and I press play, the timer should count start at 5. And I'm going to leg her across to the red script, and it brings her across look as well. So 3, 2, 1, and takes us to the game over scene. And in fact, if I just increase that timer a little bit on this first scene here, so if I click on grounds, give us a little bit of, where is it to? Why isn't that working? Bear with me a second, sorry. Sorry, it is working. It just means that on the countdown timer, this is where I have to change the time. So I give myself 10 seconds. It doesn't allow me to do it on Unity anymore because it's static. It's been used in different scripts. I think that's why it doesn't appear there on the right-hand side anymore. So now if I give myself 10 seconds and I peg it across to the red shop, it counts down 7, 6. So I have to tidy it up a little bit. But when I come back again, look, it's there. So this countdown timer will follow us wherever I go. So I'll have to do the same as well in the blue shop. So just attach in the what was it, shop countdown timer to an object in there. Right, next video, we're going to start looking at getting some enemies on the go as well.